the global financial stage braces for a potentially historic currency event. For years, countless investors, analysts, and economic enthusiasts have closely followed the ongoing discussions surrounding a possible large-scale revaluation of the Iraqi dinar and Vietnamese dong. Now, according to new and increasingly credible reports, that long-awaited event may finally be approaching. Late-breaking information circulating among international finance networks suggests that global banking systems are preparing for a significant change, one that could potentially take effect as early as tomorrow. This development has reignited the hopes of millions who have patiently monitored the global currency reset narrative, often dismissed as speculative or overly optimistic. But this time, the signals appear to originate not from rumors or fringe predictions, but from within the infrastructure of legitimate financial institutions. If these indications are accurate, the next 24 hours could mark a pivotal turning point in the modern history of currency valuation. A moment years in the making. Over the past decade, Iraq has quietly rebuilt its financial foundation following years of instability and reconstruction. The Central Bank of Iraq, CBI, has engaged in an extensive modernization campaign, integrating digital technologies, updating internal systems, and aligning its practices with international banking standards. These steps, largely unreported by mainstream outlets, have created a robust technical platform capable of supporting a modern currency system. The idea of a revaluation, often abbreviated as the RV, has circulated for many years. Proponents argue that Iraq's currency is dramatically undervalued relative to its vast natural resources and growing economic potential. With oil exports increasing and regional partnerships strengthening, they contend that the dinar's suppressed value no longer reflects the country's true fiscal health. Until recently, the concept of a revaluation remained speculative, an uncertain, someday event. However, mounting evidence now suggests that both internal readiness and global coordination have reached an unprecedented level of synchronization. Central banks, digital trading systems, and international clearinghouses are reportedly on standby for what could be one of the most significant monetary recalibrations in modern financial history. The mechanism behind a revaluation. To understand the magnitude of such a shift, it's essential to clarify what a currency revaluation actually entails. Contrary to common misconceptions, a revaluation is not the physical replacement of existing banknotes. No one walks into a bank and swaps old bills for new ones overnight. Instead, the transformation occurs within the digital frameworks of central banking systems, through recalibrations of numerical values stored in secure, globally synchronized ledgers. If Iraq were to revalue its currency, the CBI would simply adjust the dinar's exchange rate relative to the US dollar and other global benchmarks. Once that new rate is officially broadcast through international financial networks, every major institution, from commercial banks to online trading platforms, would automatically update its systems to reflect the new value. For instance, a 25,000 dinar note, currently worth around $20 USD, could suddenly represent tens of thousands of dollars if the exchange rate were to be elevated to parity levels suggested by analysts. The paper note itself would remain unchanged, but its digital worth in global systems would rise instantaneously. This is the essence of a monetary revaluation, a systemic, electronic reassignment of value grounded in an updated economic assessment. The three zeros clarified. One phrase frequently associated with the dinar conversation is the removal of 3 zeros. This concept has fueled widespread confusion and debate among investors. In reality, removing zeros refers to a mathematical adjustment rather than a literal deletion of digits from banknotes. If, for example, 1 dinar is currently worth 0.00085 USD, removing 3 zeros would conceptually shift that value to 0.85 USD, a 1,000-fold increase. This digital movement of the decimal point, implemented through central banking software, instantly redefines the purchasing power of the currency. Importantly, the transition does not require reprinting money or withdrawing physical cash from circulation. It's a change enacted entirely through electronic systems and reflected in all global trading platforms once the new rates are released. Iraq's economic foundation. The justification for such a dramatic revaluation lies in Iraq's underlying economic strength. The nation holds some of the largest proven oil reserves on the planet, providing it with immense untapped wealth and long-term fiscal leverage. Over the last decade, Iraq has implemented sweeping reforms designed to stabilize its political environment, attract foreign investment, and modernize its infrastructure. Oil production has steadily increased, trade relationships with regional partners have expanded, and technological modernization within the banking sector has accelerated. Today, Iraq's economy is more integrated and transparent than at any time in the last 20 years. Advocates argue that the dinar's artificially low value is no longer sustainable given these advancements. Supporters of the RV theory believe that the time has come for Iraq's currency to reflect its true market value, potentially aligning closer to $1 per dinar, a shift that would dramatically transform global perceptions of Iraq's economic standing. Vietnam's parallel path. Alongside Iraq, Vietnam has also been spotlighted as a candidate for currency adjustment. The Vietnamese dong has long been considered undervalued despite the country's exceptional economic growth. Over the past decade, Vietnam has emerged as one of Asia's manufacturing powerhouses, drawing global corporations seeking alternatives to China's production networks. Its exports, trade surplus, and consistent GDP growth paint a picture of a stable, thriving economy. Yet the dong's value remains low relative to its actual output and productivity. Financial observers note that Vietnam's economic fundamentals justify a stronger currency, especially as the nation continues to climb the ladder of industrial and technological development. If the Vietnamese government and central bank were to initiate a recalibration similar to Iraq's, it could potentially reinforce Vietnam's global trade competitiveness, while rewarding long-term investors who have held the dong in anticipation of such a shift. Banking systems on alert. One of the most notable signs of preparation comes from the global banking sector itself. In recent months, numerous international banks have been quietly updating their digital exchange infrastructures, performing test runs, enhancing security protocols, and upgrading systems for instantaneous rate adjustments. Financial insiders report that these updates are not routine maintenance operations, but deliberate steps to synchronize systems ahead of potential large-scale monetary adjustments. Training sessions for specialized staff and system compatibility tests have reportedly been conducted in multiple regions, signaling that institutions are indeed preparing for a coordinated rollout. Crucially, the revaluation process is expected to occur entirely within standard banking frameworks, no secret portals, no special codes, and no private exchange locations. Once activated, the process should mirror any other currency exchange transaction. The intent is to ensure uniformity, transparency, and stability throughout the global financial ecosystem. The expected sequence of events. Should the revaluation be triggered, the sequence is anticipated to unfold as follows. 1. Official confirmation. The Central Bank of Iraq and relevant government bodies would issue an official statement or bulletin announcing the new rate. FP. 2. System-wide updates, banking networks, Forex trading platforms, and global clearing systems would automatically synchronize to reflect the new values. 3. Public access. Individuals holding dinar or dong could then visit authorized banks or currency exchange offices to convert their holdings at the updated rate. 4. Stabilization period. In the initial hours or days, systems may experience delays as servers refresh and transaction volumes spike. Some smaller banks could take longer to update than larger ones, creating temporary discrepancies. Investors are advised to remain patient and composed during this phase. High transaction volumes, verification procedures, and security protocols will likely cause temporary processing delays. Historically, in similar financial transitions, redemption windows have remained open for several months, allowing ample time for holders to complete exchanges without panic. Avoiding scams and false promises. Whenever rumors of financial windfalls spread, scammers inevitably emerge to exploit public excitement. Investors must exercise extreme caution during any potential revaluation event. Only officially licensed banks and government-regulated institutions will be authorized to conduct exchanges at legitimate rates. Any private individuals or unverified groups promising special access, higher rates, or exclusive deals should be treated as fraudulent. History has shown that large-scale financial events often attract sophisticated scams. Verifying all information directly with one's bank and avoiding emotional decisions will be critical to protecting one's assets. The taxation factor. One important yet often overlooked aspect of currency revaluation is taxation. In most jurisdictions, any profits derived from currency appreciation are considered taxable income or capital gains. Investors who purchased dinar or dong years ago should ensure they have complete documentation of their original purchases, including receipts or transaction records. When the revaluation occurs, these records will help determine taxable profits accurately. Consulting a certified tax professional before initiating exchanges is strongly recommended to avoid unexpected liabilities. Transparency and compliance will be vital, as governments possess sophisticated monitoring systems to track high-value financial movements. Patience and process, how large exchanges work. Even after a formal announcement, investors should not expect immediate, frictionless access to massive sums of money. High-value currency exchanges involve multi-layered verification steps, anti-money laundering checks, and coordination with central banking authorities. Large transactions may need to be scheduled in phases to ensure security and system stability. Smaller conversions might process more quickly, but even these could take longer than usual as banks adjust to the new parameters. This phase is comparable to a major global software update. It requires careful synchronization and patience. The logic behind a higher valuation. Skeptics often question whether a revaluation of this magnitude is even possible. Proponents counter that Iraq's immense natural wealth, particularly its oil reserves, supports the logic of a stronger dinar. When combined with rising exports, fiscal reforms, and greater political stability, a higher exchange rate becomes a matter of economic alignment rather than fantasy. A value around 85 cents to $1 per dinar is frequently cited as plausible given Iraq's GDP, export strength, and revenue potential. Such a rate would not only reflect Iraq's true productive capacity, but also reestablish international confidence in its monetary system. Historically, currency adjustments have occurred during periods of post-conflict reconstruction or rapid modernization. Nations recovering from economic disruptions often implement recalibrations to stabilize value and attract foreign investment. Iraq's current position, bolstered by a decade of reform, fits that pattern remarkably well. Lessons from economic history. While upward revaluations are less common than devaluations, they are not unprecedented. Throughout history, several countries have successfully adjusted their currencies after major fiscal reforms or economic realignments. What distinguishes Iraq's and Vietnam's situations is the scale and timing. Both nations have spent more than 10 years modernizing infrastructure, refining banking systems, and integrating into the global economy. The initial skepticism surrounding these potential revaluations mirrors the doubt that once accompanied the introduction of the euro or other major monetary transitions. History suggests that transformative economic shifts are almost always met with disbelief until they become undeniable reality. The broader implications. If a revaluation were to occur, the consequences would ripple far beyond individual investors. A significantly stronger dinar would elevate Iraq's global financial profile, attracting new waves of foreign direct investment, strengthening its national reserves, and improving trade dynamics throughout the Middle East. For Vietnam, a stronger dong could enhance purchasing power, stabilize import prices, and signal to global partners that the nation's rapid growth is being matched by financial maturity. Together, these moves could recalibrate the balance of emerging market economies across Asia and the Middle East, ushering in what some analysts call a new era of economic empowerment. The power of digital infrastructure. Unlike past revaluations that depended on physical currency exchanges, today's potential event would occur almost entirely through digital systems. Modern global banking infrastructure allows instant communication between central banks, commercial institutions, and international trading platforms. Once the CBI, or the State Bank of Vietnam, transmits updated rates to international clearinghouses, those values cascade automatically through encrypted financial networks. Teller screens, ATMs, and Forex charts would simultaneously display new figures, essentially transforming the financial landscape in real time. This technological capacity is precisely why such a monumental adjustment can occur almost instantaneously. Managing expectations. Despite the growing anticipation, experts urge investors to remain realistic. While a significant upward adjustment could indeed occur, the magnitude of the increase is unknown until official rates are released. Market reactions, policy adjustments, and transitional measures may moderate the initial impact. Moreover, the revaluation, if it happens, does not mean instant wealth for all holders. Taxes, transaction delays, and regulatory requirements will inevitably influence outcomes. Careful planning, patience, and professional financial advice remain essential components of a sound strategy. Preparing for the event. For those holding dinar or dong, practical preparation is key. Investors should 1. Organize currency holdings by denomination, ensuring that notes are clean and legible. 2. Identify local banks authorized to handle foreign currency exchanges. 3. Confirm required documentation, such as valid government identification, passport, national ID, or driver's license. 4. Securely store physical currency until an official announcement is made. 5. Keep detailed records of all purchase receipts and previous transactions for tax and verification purposes. Carrying large sums of currency unnecessarily is strongly discouraged. When the time comes, exchanges should be conducted only through legitimate financial institutions operating under national regulatory oversight. The emotional dimension. For many individual investors, this potential revaluation is more than a financial event. It represents years of faith, patience, and hope. Since the early 2000s, small investors worldwide have accumulated dinar and dong in anticipation of such a day. The idea of a currency reset has become a global community phenomenon, inspiring forums, podcasts, and extensive online debate. If the long-anticipated shift finally occurs, it will mark not just a financial turning point, but a deeply emotional one for countless people who have waited decades for validation. Disclaimer: all content provided by IQD Global Intel is for educational and informational purposes only. We are not financial advisors and do not provide investment, trading, or banking advice. Viewers should always conduct their own research and consult with a licensed financial advisor before making any financial decisions.